Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. A U.S. Patriot air defense system has been deployed to southeastern Turkey as NATO strengthens protection following 2 Iranian ballistic missiles intercepted over Turkish territory in recent days. Now, with Turkey's president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, warning he wants Turkey to stay, quote, as far away from this fire as possible, unquote, as the Iran war escalate. The security developments come as jailed Istanbul mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu appeared in court Monday in a corruption case involving more than 400 defendants linked to the city's municipality, charges he and his Republican People's Party deny. Now, to discuss it all, we're joined by Karolina Wanda Olszowska, president and co-founder of the Turkey Research Institute. Good to have you on TVP World. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
I want to start with the most recent developments, also what President Erdogan said here, as stay as far away from the fire as possible for Turkey. How difficult of a balancing act is that, with Turkey being a NATO member at the same time also being right next to Iran?
Now it's very hard because, it's not only the case of the Turkey and Iran, because the relation between these two countries are something like not the friend but frenemy, the new phrase. But the case is that the different countries in the region, like Saudi Arabia, they push the Turkey to say that they are the part of the coalition of maybe not the Arabic country, but they support the Arabic country and the United States and Israel. And this is important because the Saudi Arabia sent the money and gold when Turkey have the worst situation of the inflation. So now not the part of the conflict is very hard for the Turkey now. And after the first missiles, the Turkish territory in Hatay, the president and the minister of foreign affairs, Fidan, said that this was only the mistake of the Iran and the case that the ballistic missiles they fly to Cyprus. After the second, we have a different point of view that, okay, this is only the mistake, maybe the target is the different than Turkey, but look, we are the part of the NATO. And now we have this case of patriots, and the American said the American part of the consulate in Adana should leave. The consulate are not important to work of this consulate. This is near the engineering base. So we look at the B of neutrality and balancing between the sides by Turkey is more and more difficult.
Mm-hmm. More difficult. Also, curious what you make of it, because, some countries in NATO at this point may have invoked Article 4, those consultations for NATO. Turkey hasn't done that. What does that tell us, if anything?
I think that now it tells us that Turkey don't want to show this incident like the part of the war, and the Turkey like the part of the war and be the ally of United States. Not Turkey try to be neutral and try to say that this is not now the incident. This is only the incident, but the Iranian case was the different than Turkey. I think that Turkey want to set this one, but we need to know that in one time should be the situation that Turkey said that they want to have Article 4, and we, like Poland and the different country in the NATO, we need to know what we should do in this time, because in the Polish point of view, when we said that we start the Article 4 the months ago, we want to support different country, and Turkey they publish information about the Polish support after the days. I don't remember not, but 4 and 5 days after the incident in Poland, and we need to know. We need to have the plan how we want to support Turkey like the part of the NATO, because if we don't did it, the Russian they said that the NATO don't support Turkey in the next time.
It's also interesting because some years ago I recall that there was a Russian drone that actually went into Turkish territory that was shot down right away. So that's kind of also interesting to take note. I'm curious also about recent strategic moves by Turkey as well. They've deployed apparently, I think, 4 or a few fighter jets to northern Cyprus. Now, northern Cyprus, again, is also a difficult topic. So what do you make of that strategic move? Is this something as a precautionary move? How will that, let's say, impact also those relations with Cyprus and northern Cyprus?
Yeah, this is the 6 jets, I think, that Turkey fly to Cyprus, and they support the part of the northern Cyprus, the Turkish Cyprus, and the Turkey want to say that the Turkey will be support this part of the Cyprus, that, okay, we can talk about confederation of the country, but we are the ally for the Turkish Cyprus. So I think that they want to say from the France, from the Great Britain, who sent the floats for the Cyprus to support them, that Turkey still will be the part of the coalition, and they will be support the interest of the Turks in this part of the island. So I think this is not important now in this time, but this is important when the conflict in the Middle East stopped, and we will talk about the maybe the Cyprus and the Greece and what will be the next, because we have some voice in Turkey that Cyprus after this conflict will want to be the part of the NATO. And it was very hard because we remember how Turkey blocked to be the part of the NATO for Finland and Sweden. So we only can imagine how hard will be it for the Cyprus, who are divided, and the Turkish support the Turkish part of the island, and only Turkey recognized the independence of this part.
Right. Also, another thing, speaking of borders, real quickly, and going also to Turkey's border, I mean, migration, this is one of those, well, for Turkey, it's a reality already. For some years, they've had a lot of migrants come. We've seen that already, different waves coming from Central Asia, working very much with the European Union for those people to stay in Turkey. At the same time, the EU has warned that instability, if this continues, there might be another wave, more people may be on the move. How, let's say, much of a role will Turkey play if that does occur? What are they doing already now, and what does it signify for what might be next?
Now the Iranian-Turkish border are closed because the very big afraid for Turkish side when the conflict in Iran start. First is the Kurds, of course, but the second is the refugees and the problem with the migration. And after the first attack in Saturday, Turkey closed the border from Iran, and only Turkish and citizens of the different country than Iran can cross the border now, so it's close. And we should know that the border between Iran and Turkey is one of the most fortified land borders in Turkey. So they started the project of fortificate this border the years ago, and the intensification of this was more in this year. So the case of Turkey is to close the border to stop the potential refugee crisis, because after the case of Syrians and the migration crisis the years ago that still have is very big political problem in Turkey. So they want to stop it, and after the attack we have something like the Turkey said that this is the disinformation, but the information that Turkey wants something like the safe zone in the Iranian part of the border. When will be the crisis, the Iranian refugee will be in this part of the Iranian part of the land. But before it, Turkey said that this is the disinformation, but we have information about project like this. And now I do think that we don't know what is the true and where the true is in this crisis.
All right. Now, that's an external crisis for Turkey. But I'm curious how this impacts also the internal crises in Turkey, or rather one of the main issues that we've just heard about from Monday, the start of the trial of the former mayor of Istanbul, Mr. İmamoğlu. Now, there are several allegations, a sentence hanging over him of 2,000 years, 400 defendants. How much, let's say, internally, is this also, let's say, a reflection of Erdogan? Where do we stand with this trial? How is that going to impact Turkish politics over the next weeks and months?
I think this is hard because all things that we look in the Middle East, this case of İmamoğlu isn't that important that they should be in this case, because the many Turkish journalists, very good journalists, now are focused for what happened in the region and what happened in the Turkish foreign policy, and we don't have many information about this trial, what happened in İmamoğlu and the different opposition politics who are the defenders in the corruption case in Istanbul, because this is more than 400 people, and we know that this is a very political case, and they will be very long time, because they said that the case in court will be more than 12 years. So we will look for it for the years, and the opposition want to something like live broadcast during the next trial in the court to show what happened and how the opposition talk about the case, but we don't know what will be. But this is not now the very important case in Turkey, because the many journalists look for the foreign policy, and of course we have some the information, but we don't have many protests. Like 1 year ago, when they arrest the Ekrem İmamoğlu, we have protests in many cities in Turkey. This was the protest not only because the Ekrem İmamoğlu, this was the protest because the democratization, because the problem, the inflation and the economical problem in Turkey. But now we have information about the small protest, but no, there's a big protest in the big cities. So this is not case. This is not case because the Turkish people and the Turkish policy have the more important problem in the foreign policy, and the many journalists, the many media are focused for them. And I think that many people don't remember not what happened with Ekrem İmamoğlu, because this is 1 year after they arrested him.
As you said, I mean, this is, we haven't seen those kind of protests now on the streets anymore. Do you think that then for ordinary Turks, why is that? Just really briefly, one quick sentence. Why are they not on the street anymore? Is it because they're afraid of what's on their border? Do they not see, let's say, a future with this case? Are they still planning something? Why are the protests no longer there on the street as much as they were about a year ago?
I think because they focus for the very economical situation, because in Turkey you have still very bad economical situation, and the people are focused for this, and they now don't see a chance to change something, because the next election will be in 2028, so they have time to change something, and I think this is the problem. They don't see how they can change something now. They wait for the election and they look for the economical problem, because this is the more important for the ordinary Turks.
All right, so giving us there the latest of all things related with Turkey in the region and also domestic issues. Thank you so much for that. That was our guest here this morning, Karolina Wanda Olszowska from the Turkey Research Institute. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. That concludes World Talks, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.